it not only shifted the planet, but the planet went from being masculine to being feminine again. See, Mu was the motherland. Mu was the motherland, and the motherland was feminine. The planet Earth was feminine.
That's true.
We switched into Atlantean times as the fourth root race. The planet went masculine.
Yes.
And we went from being receptive to being creative and more domineering. So the masculine point of view was, that was the beginning of war. There was no such thing as war during early Lemurian times, only in the crossover. Then the Atlanteans made war on the Lemurians, and that's where this ancient karma started that we're working with through the East and the West. But all of this was, looking very dark. It looks very dark out there. But I say, well, if you look at it from a different standpoint, sure it looks dark. And everything on the news is one war here, one war there. But if you look at it from the standpoint that Gautama Buddha became the new Lord of the world, that's progress. It wasn't necessarily part of his divine plan to come here at all. I don't know.
He chose to come here.
He chose. And as I said, I don't have any accurate information, and I don't get a confirmation or denial about Jesus as far as him being a Kumara. Sananda. Sananda is the name of a Kumara. I do not have any confirmation one way or the other about what that means. So I said, well, the possibility of it is that Jesus was a Kumara all along, and that he came here to hold the balance for a certain energy, and he's moving on. He went with Kuthumi as both in the office of world teacher to assist Maitreya, Maitreya was his guru, and he was the one, when Jesus said, because of my father, all this and all of his talk of his father was Maitreya.
Yes, that's right.
Not the God of gods.
That's right.
This was a mistake that the church used against us. Not everything in the Bible is the Holy Writ, though, obviously. Our God is a jealous God? I don't think so. Our God is doesn't have attributes.
No, it
Only
doesn't.
the gods have attributes.
God is all there is.
Yeah, only the lesser gods, and we're all lesser gods in the making, or, eventually when we merge at the in-breath of Brahma, we'll all be God. There won't even be any individuality for a minute. Or as long as...
Then do we start all over again, or whatever?
That's a
what do we
good
do
question.
then? Yeah.
There are different theories about that. God does not have attributes. God is not a being, not a person.
That's right.
Doesn't matter how high you can imagine.
I
God is
have
love.
not believed he's a being for
No.
quite a
Yeah.
while.
God
Well,
is a certain
you're in
force
the
and he's
minority.
love. He's pure love.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, a lot of people see God as a being.
as a
but
king or as some
to
kind of
me,
ruler.
God is all there is.
God doesn't have
He
attributes.
doesn't
He's
have
not
an
jealous.
attribute. Yeah.
He doesn't keep his eye on
He
us.
can't create
right.
He doesn't
another
have
being of
eyes.
himself.
If he did, he would be in duality. He would no longer be the God of gods.
No.
And that's all there is to it. But there's a blasphemy in the fact that they have created this gap that says, oh, you can't have gods and God. It's either God or gods. And I'm saying, well, there are gods and there is God.
Yes,
They're
there
not
is.
the same thing.
Yes, there is.
They are the same thing, but they're not the same thing. The God part of the gods is the God part of everything. But,
See, if
individually.
somebody were to honor the sun or the moon, well, they would be limited because there's much more than that.
Well, the sun is our God in this
Yes,
quadrant.
that's true.
Helios.
Helios and Vesta.
Yeah, without that, the local God, shall we
Yeah,
say.
that's what I mean, but there's many
Yeah,
involved.
there's others. Yeah, and it's a hierarchy. People don't really understand hierarchy, even though it's, it's in every company, it's in everything that goes on the planet. We still don't understand that it goes as above, so below, as below, so above. And one of the problems here is that people really don't want to know. So you can't create for them the knowing because they're not ready to know. And like we talked about earlier, if someone isn't ready to know, it's not about the words. The words are easy. It's the understanding and the acceptance. That is harder. People that are caught in duality, which is all of us, have various ways of trying to identify unity. And that's the problem, is that you can't identify unity from duality. You can associate with it, but unity and duality are two completely different things. So when the in-breath, speaking in terms of that, the in-breath and the out-breath, there have been how many? Who knows how many of those there have been. So I assume, just knowing that things go on and on forever, maybe. Who
Yeah,
knows?
forever.
When we in-breathe and we become one with the cosmic ocean, the out-breathing will occur again maybe 100 billion years from now. Who knows how long that cycle is. They say 432 billion years
Right.
for one in-breath and one out-breath each. That's a long time. So what does that mean? Where are we on that cycle?
Of it.
See, we can be aware, they called Buddha a sixth rounder.
Yes.
So Buddha was ahead of his time.
Yes.
He came here ahead of his time.
Yeah.
He was,
Wasn't he the first one to wake up after?
well, he's an ascended master when he got here, but then a lot of people were. I mean, Saint Germain was ascended. It's not rocket science, shall we say, for people to recognize what's going on here. But it does take some doing to get to the point where we understand where we are in the cycles. That's why I'm saying there's no real definitive answer to, is this the end times? Yes, it's the end times. It's the end times of some cycles. Is it the end of the world? I don't get that it is.